The ultimate goal of MAD and the National Transportation Safety Board and the lobbyist representing companies who will benefit from 0.0 is 0.0. But they're not going to come out and say that. What are they going to do? They're going to do what they've done. They're going to go from 0.12 to 0.01, to 0.10, to 0.08, to 0.06, to 0.05, to 0.04, 03, 02, 01, 00. That's what they want. But they're smart enough, crafty enough, to know that if they came out and said, as of February 1st, it's 0.00, people would be ticked off. There'd be a big blowback. They wouldn't be able to do it. So what they do is they do it slowly over time so you don't notice. I call this creeping incrementalism. I used to hang out on the jetty down in Jupiter, Florida. I had a house in Tequesta, just over the county line there. I used to go out when the sun was coming up and all the fish heads would be out there doing their thing. And I'd get a cup of coffee and a bagel, and I'd head out and I'd see what they were catching, and I'd watch the sun come up and watch the waves come in. Jupiter Inlet. It's a great spot. And then you watch the waves, and there's these massive rocks on the north and south side of the Jupiter Inlet. Big, massive, jagged-edged rocks. And the waves, every hour, every day, every year, every decade, are constantly battering these rocks. Now, as you're standing there for an hour or two, taking in all the sights and the sounds and the smells, the edges of those rocks are being worn down. You don't see it because it's happening so slowly, but it's happening right before your eyes. The next wave takes something away. The next wave takes something away. And slowly over time, those jagged edges, those hardened edges, are being worn down to where maybe if you went back in 50, 75, 100 years, a lot of those rocks' edges will have been smoothed over. That's what's happening with regulations. That's what's happening with the intent of the so-called do-gooders out there. They're slowly wearing away America's edges. They're slowly pounding away day after day in ways that we might not see. We see the aftermath of a hurricane, the devastation, because it comes in, boom, it hits, and you look back and you go, wow, look what hurricanes Katrina and Rita did. Look what Hurricane Andrew did. Look what those tornadoes did in Oklahoma. Look what the earthquake did in Southern California. Look at the damage. Look at the devastation. Because you can see it. It's immediate. But the lobbyists, the K-Streeters, the do-gooders, the social architects, the ideologues, they know that they can't do it that way. They know that they have to use creeping incrementalism. They know that they have to slowly wear you down over time. And it's happening right before our eyes in oh so many ways, not just with the BAC of 0.00, which is what their ultimate goal is. And by the way, I can make a case that you should never drink anything and drive. You got 4,000 or 5,000 pounds of steel hurtling down the freeway at 70 miles an hour. Something goes sideways with your vehicle. It's probably the main reason pilots don't drink. Insert joke here, I get it. I can make the case that you should never be altered in any way when you get behind the wheel of a car. Whether it's alcohol, whether it's marijuana, whether it's prescription drugs, whether it's illegal drugs, because you're not functioning at your best capabilities. But that's not how they do things. You look at all the rules and regulations in the Federal Register, almost 90,000 pages, $1.5 trillion to $2 trillion a year that businesses have to comply with. They didn't dump 90,000 of them on us in one day. They dumped them on us day after day after day, just like the waves hitting the rocks at the Jupiter Inlet. You see it happening, but you don't see it in its totality. And this is where we have to be vigilant. I would much rather have MAD say 0.00, that's our agenda. I would rather have the National Transportation Highway Board say 0.00. I would rather people be honest about that, and we can have an honest discussion about it. But that's not how they play the game. They try and wear us down over time. And they're doing it in so many ways. But we have to be hyper vigilant as to what is really going on out there. We have to look and see exactly what's happening, and we have to react. We have a responsibility. Because they think that they know everything. They can control all outcomes. And the whole outcome of 0.00 is there will be no more impaired driving. That's a good thing. There'll be less deaths on the road. There'll be less accidents on the road. Insurance costs will be lower, supposedly. But they also now want to ban any smart technology use in the car, including hands-free. Well, we'll go in connected cars, right? We're going to have Wi-Fi hotspots in the car. We're going to have the ability to do email. We're going to have conference calls. We're going to be able to Snapchat, Instagram, Pinterest, blah, 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 blah. So as we're going to the connected car, they're telling us that we have to be less connected from the connected car because we don't want you distracted while you're driving. And again, I can make the case for that. But what about screaming kids in the back seat? Is that a distraction for a mom who's driving or a dad who's driving the car? What about pets that are in the car? Is that a distraction? What about people who eat in the car? What about people who are blasting their music that distracts you as you go by? There's a whole lot of distractions. And if I thought that perhaps what they were doing was in our best interest, I'd be open to the idea. If, in fact, there is a better outcome. But, in fact, there won't be. But they're not honest about their agenda. They're not honest about their ultimate goal. And that's why when I see the government, when I see special interest groups and lobbyists and K-Streeters trying to get an edge on me for their advantage, follow the money. That's a big theme of this show. Follow the money. Follow the legislation. Follow the agenda. Follow the talking heads. Follow the politicians' words. If you follow the money, you'll understand so much of why what's being done today is being done. Supposedly, to benefit you.